Hey, Matt, the Republican parties in Montgomery and Liberty counties, just north of Houston, there, they want to ban IVF, in vitro fertilization. The state party and state leaders, though, don't seem to agree with this. Which way do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, I haven't seen any serious discussion or momentum at the legislative level behind anything that would ban IVF. I just think in today's world, given where technology is, given the hundreds of thousands of Americans who've been able to get pregnant through the miracle of IVF, everything's changed. Maybe than how people might looked at it 20 or 30 years ago. Everyone knows someone who's either gotten pregnant that way, or is trying to get pregnant that way, or wants to get pregnant that way. So I think as a party, we want to be on the side of life. We want to be on the side of people starting families however they can. I do think there are reasonable questions to be asked about, discarding embryos and things along those lines. But you can address that issue without "quote unquote" banning IVF. So I really don't see that getting much traction or going anywhere.
There's talk about this going to be a there's talk about this going to be a proposition in the state party platform at the convention in May. What are the chances that it might end up in the platform, banning it altogether?
Yeah, so the process for that is it has to first be a resolution that was passed at the Senate district level. We have 31 Senate districts. In Texas, the Senate district conventions are on March 23rd. I don't recall seeing if it was in one of the Senate districts, but either way, the platform committee will meet before the convention, the week of the convention in San Antonio in mid-May, and then it would be something that would be considered by the full delegate body at the convention there around the 23rd, 24th, 25th. So I think the chances are probably low unless there's a real major push made by this, unless you had some of the statewides get behind it, unless you had some of the outside groups really start heavily pushing it. I'll be very surprised if that ends up in the platform at the end of the day. I think most women, and there will be a lot of female delegates, are going to be pretty opposed to anything that would ban IVF.
Let's zoom out and talk about abortion in general. We all saw what happened in Arizona the other day. Abortion restrictions, though, every time they've gone on the ballot in 7 states, when voters have had to say they have lost in those places. 4 of those are Republican states as well. Are you concerned that abortion restrictions could turn voters away from the GOP ticket this fall?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly been a major issue since the Dobbs ruling, and we've had special elections. We've had ballot initiatives in different states, including in Ohio. And so I think what's different to me about those scenarios and the November presidential election is when those things were on the ballot, it was about that issue. The presidential election is going to be about a lot of things. We've got the economy and immigration, how people feel about the Biden presidency, how people felt about the Trump presidency, and yes, it'll be about abortion. So it'll be one of 4 or 5 or 6 major factors that voters will consider when they vote or when they go to vote. There's no question right now the Democrats have their wind at their back on that issue, that they're pressing their political advantage on that issue. Whether that can sustain and continue, and whether that maintains itself as a major issue, is a huge question. You're going to have these things on the ballot in places like Florida. You're going to have something on the ballot in Arizona. Those are important states. So we'll have to see. Is it a turnout issue? Is it an issue that affects swing voters, perhaps even suburban women, where it may drive them away from Republicans towards Democrats? This could also work the other way, where you could see perhaps Hispanic voters who are overwhelmingly Catholic, who might have traditionally voted Democratic, wanting to vote Republican because of their pro-life position. So there's a lot of different ways it can work. Right now, Democrats do seem to have a political advantage on the issue. We'll see whether that continues.
Republican hardliners in the state house have announced a contract with Texas, kind of like what Newt Gingrich did 30 years ago with a contract with America. But some of the ideas here, these are demands for the next Speaker of the House, who want to, end the tradition of having some Democratic committee chairs, also want to limit speakers to 2 terms only. The House is likely to have more farther right members this next legislative session, but how likely are any of these changes?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get all of them. I'd be surprised if you get all of them, but I don't think you're going to get none of them either. It's going to be somewhere in the middle. And I don't think you're going to have seven Democratic chairs in the House in the next legislative session. I don't think you're going to have zero. I think it'll be a lower number than 7, but I doubt it'll be zero. But we'll see. It's going to depend a lot on who the next speaker is. It could be Dade Phelan if he wins his runoff, and if he puts the 76 votes together. If he doesn't win his runoff, or if he doesn't put the votes together, we'll have a new speaker. But these are ideas that the grassroots are pushing. A lot of them, I think, are going to have a lot of support in the grassroots. These are reforms to how the House operates. It would make the House operate more like the Senate in a more conservative fashion. But in the end, it's going to be about the coalition that the new speaker, if there is a new speaker, puts together. And one of the risks here is if the hardliners drive a really hard bargain as they intend to, that may actually require the next speaker to put a coalition together with Democratic votes. That's something to watch, because that may be the direction they decide to go instead of going in the hardline direction. But I think there'll be some reform, and I think they're going to get some of what they want.
Can Dade Phelan win his May runoff? Can he win re-election? And if he does win re-election, would he be elected as next speaker, do you think?
I think he can win. I'm not predicting that he will win. The third place finisher endorsed the David Covey, the challenger.
Yeah.
So it's a dicey situation. We'll have to see how it works out. Phelan's going to have significant resources, but generally primary runoffs are more to the base. They're lower turnout, and the energy is certainly with the challenger right now.
Who do you expect to be the next Speaker of the House if Phelan does not win re-election?
It's unknowable. I mean, right now it's unknowable. That it's too early to know kind of how that's going to work out. Depends on who all comes back. You have November elections ahead. I don't know that people that are getting in now are going to be in a position to do that. It's probably going to be something that breaks a little bit later. It's an inside game. It's also not a roll call vote. It's not a record vote. It's a silent vote or a private vote that occurs. And so there's a lot of horse trading that goes on in speakers races.
Matt, always appreciate the insight, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.